All right, everybody. Welcome back to Dave's R&R with your host, Dave here. First off, I just want to thank y'all for your patience. I know it's been a while since I've dropped an episode. When you're planning a wedding and you've got a bunch of other stuff going on too, it's just really hard to keep up with. The wedding's a little under a month away. Most excited I've ever been in my life. And after that, I promise you the episodes are going to be churned out even more. You're going to get more content here, and my favorite follow crew will get even more content over there as well. This episode, it's on quick release. I'm releasing it the afternoon of UFC 278. That's why I'm recording. It's almost 1 p.m. We're about 5.5 hours until fight time. So I want to get out a couple special picks for everyone listening to Dave's R&R here. We've got UFC 278, Usman versus Edwards 2. And I've got 3 picks for you here. It's strictly based off value. I'm going for all plus signs here to get the juice in these fights. We're going to go with the top 3 fights on the card. We're going with first, Aldo to win by unanimous decision, plus 300. Jose Aldo is one of my favorite fighters. I know he gets a lot of slack for what happened against Conor McGregor. A lot of casual fans don't really know that he's one of the greatest fighters of all time, and he's been kind of a gatekeeper for the division for a little bit now. He hasn't gotten the title shot in a while, but this fight can really elevate him there. And I'm sure a lot of you saw in the gambling world that Drake put 230,000 on Aldo to win this fight. I'm not the biggest Drake guy, and I hate it, but I agree with him here. I'm a big Aldo supporter in this fight. If you give me Aldo at plus money, I'm going to take it any time. So I'm going for even better value here. Unanimous decision plus 300. He's not afraid to go the distance. We know that. He can pick an opponent apart for 3 rounds, no problem. So he's the underdog in this fight, but I just really like the odds for unanimous decision at plus 300. In the co-main event, we have Costa versus Rockhold and Luke Rockhold's return fight. Now this one, I don't see it going the distance at all, but if you just pick it not to go the distance, it's minus 350. There's absolutely no juice in that. So I'm going to pick around here, and I'm going to pick the fight to end in round 2 at plus 250. Round 1's the favorite right now at plus 150. A lot of people think Costa's going to knock out Rockhold early. Rockhold's got enough skill to drag this out to round 2 or 3. He doesn't have the chin to make the fight really go the distance. I think Costa's going to win this fight fairly easy, but I like it to drag out to round 2. I'm going to take the plus 250 there on that. And then finally, we have our main event, Usman versus Edwards 2. Usman hasn't lost since joining the UFC, and Edwards' only loss in a long time is to Usman. The first time they fought, he's been on a big winning streak since. And this one, I don't think this fight's going to go the distance, and I'm going to take that at plus 111. So clearly the odds are against us here. A lot of people think this fight's going to go the distance. Usman's been knocking people out left and right. He's been going for his finishes lately. He's arguably the pound for pound greatest fighter of this generation right now. And, he's number 1 on the pound for pound. And I think he wants to keep showing it. He wants to finish people off. He wants to give people a show. So I think he's going to go for the finishes here. But Edwards is no slouch. Don't be surprised if Edwards can sneak in a win here. And, if it stays on the feet, it's a 50-50 shot in my opinion. If Usman uses his wrestling and takes him to the ground, it's going to go the distance. But if Usman wants to stay on his feet like he has been to try to go for the highlight knockouts, don't be surprised if Edwards wins. I'm still thinking Usman, but I like this fight to not go the distance at plus 111. So there are 3 quick picks for you before this fight card tonight, so lock them in now. We've got Aldo by unanimous decision plus 300. Luke Rockhold versus Paulo Costa to end in round 2 plus 250. Usman and Edwards to not go the distance at plus 111. And that's not all I have for this episode. I have some thoughts on a video game, because I know we put the video games on the title screen. It's in the picture. We haven't really talked about video games yet, but this is something that really caught my eye, a big announcement for the upcoming NBA 2K23 MyNBA Eras. So essentially, what this is if you start a season mode, you get to pick what era you start in. There's the Bird vs. Magic era, the Jordan era, the Kobe era, and the modern era. And they pick a point in it right before big draft classes, and the presentation's different for every single era. The commentary is different, how the uniforms, the court, just how the screen looks in general. And this has drawn me into 2K23. I didn't really like 2K22 that much. I kind of bought it, played it for a couple hours, and set it to the side. But this is something that's really drawn me into this game. I'm a big season mode player. I don't play too much online. I don't really like the My Player too much. It just takes forever to grind that out. So as someone who does season modes, I absolutely love this because you can put yourself in any era. You can play out the what ifs pretty well. Like I can start as the Wizards in the LeBron era and draft Dwayne Wade, and see where it goes from there. I just like all the scenarios they have laid out. The only hope is they have really fleshed out rosters because I know a lot of times when they have their historic teams, the bench players are just a bunch of generic names. Hopefully, it's a little more fleshed out this year, which I'm sure they're working on, and I feel like it will be pretty fleshed out if they're making this big change doing the Eras mode. But this is something that makes 2K23 a first day purchase for me. I already skipped out on Madden 23 as a first day. I'm usually a Madden purchaser first day, but I played the trial of it, and for Madden, it's just the same old, same old. We're getting the same thing every year, and it's almost getting worse. You see all these videos online of, these ridiculous plays where the player just goes back and forth, and miss tackle after miss tackle, and then runs it in for a touchdown. It's so unrealistic at this point. But Madden has no competition. Neither does 2K really, but it shows a lot more in Madden than 2K. But 2K23 with this Eras mode is a day one purchase for me. If you haven't heard the news yet, definitely go to their website and look at the article they put out about it. As long as the gameplay is solid, this era mode is going to be great, and will have me playing this game probably till next year. So shout out to 2K for really stepping it up in an era where sports games can kind of just stay, the same old, and just update the roster every year and get sale after sale after sale. So that's it for this episode. I gave you your 3 UFC picks for tonight. I told you a little bit about that NBA 2K23 MyNBA Eras mode, which is going to be legit. And just want to thank you all again for your patience. I'm going to try to churn out a couple more episodes this week. I have 2 big episodes I want to talk about. I just finished up How I Met Your Mother with my fiance. It was my second time ever watching it through, and it was her first. So knowing how the show ended and how controversial that ending was, it's probably one of the most controversial endings in TV show history. I went into it thinking, from the beginning, knowing the end, and how does everything play out. So I'm going to put out an episode that talks about, it's going to be a retrospective episode on How I Met Your Mother, how it holds up today when you know the ending, where as controversial it was. I hated the ending when it came out. I absolutely hated it. So I'm going to love to see what this brings to the table here. I think it's an interesting episode, not as modern of news, but I want some feedback on that when I put it out, because I have some hot takes probably on how the show holds up now. And then, of course, we have football coming up. We're in NFL preseason. Next week is week 0 for college football. This is the best time of the year. College football into the NFL. I love it. So I'm going to put out some college football picks this week as well for y'all. As always, follow on Instagram and Twitter at Dave's R&R. We're going to be churning out some content now. I know it's been slow. You've probably been wondering where I've been. We're coming back full force now, and we're here to stay. We're going to churn out some episodes. I'm going to get some guests on here, and we're just going to have a good time in this fall with football season approaching. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Happy gambling if you're on the UFC. Happy football if you're getting ready for football season. Let's just have some fun this fall. Peace out.